Well, welcome to a Pastor's Café. I am your host, David. I am here with Pastor Steve Kern. This is episode number 55, and we'll be talking about flooded agendas, political crisis, and currents, maybe, and prophetic waters, and we will be right back. Well, welcome back again to a Pastor's Cafe. I'm your host, David. I'm here with Pastor Steve Kern. What do you think about today's topics? Or
well, it's certainly
title.
It's something that needs to be dealt with. I mean,
nothing to see here.
Everybody's
move along.
That's all you see on.
Move along.
Move on.
Move along. Nothing to see here. This is my Jedi hand wave. You're not witnessing flooding everywhere. It's not happening. There's not earthquakes and volcanoes in diverse places. There's no longer wars and rumors of wars. All is peace.
Well, I can't get over it because it's on the news everywhere.
What news?
Well,
I just dug a hole and I buried my head in it.
Oh.
That's what I do.
Sometimes that's the best. Maybe that's why ostriches do so well.
That's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so of course we're talking about what's happening in the weather. Okay, but before we get to the questions,
yeah.
You know what? When I was a kid, and also I remember 10 years ago,
yeah,
there was some summers where you would look at the week forecast, right? And your weatherman would come on and say, dead of summer in Oklahoma. Here we are. So your forecast is for Tuesday through Sunday is Tuesday 102, Wednesday 101, Thursday 100, Friday 99, and Saturday 98. And guess what? It's gonna be 97 on Sunday. And it was sunny and hot. And guess what happened when you got to Friday and Saturday? It was 107, right?
Right.
And it was like the ongoing joke that they could never get the weather right. They were always given this false hope.
Yeah.
Right? What do we have now? All right, the forecast for the next 4 days is basically sunny and hot. All right, that's your forecast. An hour later, it's raining.
Yeah. I know, that's been amazing. What we've been seeing around here.
And it's insane.
Yeah, right.
Are they that bad at predicting the weather, or is there something else going on? Let's talk about it.
Well,
how about that?
Yeah, well, it's certainly something to talk about. Everybody's being inundated with it.
I need to get a sip of my coffee here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know it's hot outside, but
yeah.
Man, I love coffee.
Well, and I'm sure some of our watchers have wondered if we even drink coffee.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, it's coffee from a Keurig.
No.
Ew. I like my coffee made with an espresso machine, so it's usually the Americano. So what I do is I go one time through, and I go through another time through, and then I fill it up with water, put a little cream in there from a cow, and delicioso.
Oh, you're blessed.
Mm-hmm.
I have to drink tea because I can't drink coffee.
I know. I feel so sorry for you. I love coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, now, Earl Grey, I can go for a nice cup of Earl Grey tea. Do you like raspberry? You like fruity teas?
I like green tea.
Green tea. Oh, you're healthy.
Yeah.
Well, you make me look terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything I can do to be alkaline.
All right. I got you. Cool. All right. You ready to get to questions? Or you want to talk about coffee?
Sure. Yeah.
Coffee and tea?
Yeah. Well, you're the one that brought it up.
Well, sorry. All right. Here we go. Question number 1. We're talking about Camp Mistic and political ripples. Could the flooding at Texas Camp Mistic, long connected to the Bush family, reflect engineered water management or political agendas? And what evidence supports or refutes these claims?
Well, it's very interesting about the river Guadalupe there in Kerrville, going down through Kerrville.
And it happened in the 80s as well. Yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, let me say this. Tom Brokaw, about 10 years ago, brought a story there that was similar to this.
Yeah.
And you do a history of the Guadalupe, and in the last 100 years, there's been over 12 major floods take place through there.
Oh, so this is just normal occurrence.
Well, it's not the first time. And
yeah.
But I thought a good question was brought up about this. here in Oklahoma City, when we think a tornado's coming, we have sirens that go off.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And a lot of a way to get the word out. Hey,
it will no longer happen because they've removed funding from that.
Who removed funding?
I'm just joking.
No, I know. Hear me. But
Doge remote.
But you would think, speaking in terms of political, the reason why I bring it is because the Democrat side of things, it's all Trump's fault. Because he cut funding.
Yep.
Which in reality, none of that has been true. I mean, we find out that the places where it needed to be happening was where it was funded well, and they had plenty of help and all that kind of thing. And and it's so sad that any organization, regardless of what side you're on, would take this kind of tragedy and try to use it and turn it to benefit your particular agenda.
Oh, I know. It's sad. Everything is so politicized anymore these days. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, no, that's fine. But actually, it seems to me that there needs to be a little bit more investigation done on the Guadalupe as to how we can do something about all this flooding, because apparently they've had several really bad, deadly floods going through there. And
now, the thing that's interesting, did you see the radar footage of this?
No.
When it happened? It was a cell that basically, from the video footage I watched, a cell that developed and just stayed stationary for an extended amount of time.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I
mean, the winds are just perfect or anything, because usually clouds move.
Yeah.
They don't just like stay put, unless you're on a movie set. Like, I don't know, what's that movie where he was inside of a dome? Oh my goodness, what? The Truman Show.
Oh, the Truman Show.
Yeah, it's like
him.
A little light, one of those lights comes and falls in the middle of the street, and you're like, I got a serial number on there. Hey, but we have little objects falling out of the sky now, spherical objects and stuff like that. Maybe the Earth is flat, and maybe there is a firmament, maybe there is no universe, and maybe God's just above the firmament and the deep.
Maybe we need to get back to the.
Okay, let's get back. Camp Mistic. Sorry, Camp Mistic. Sorry.
So. But the thing I really wanted to talk about on this is a lot of people are going to be asking questions, especially those that are very skeptical about the existence of God, and if there is a God, how could he allow this to happen?
Oh, yeah.
Because, I did a little study on Camp Mistic, which is a Christian organization for girls to
non-denominational.
Non-denominational.
Okay.
And I could see why the Bushes might be connected with it somewhat, because they had two girls.
Yeah.
And also he was a leader in leadership there, and George W. was the governor there. So I could see why there would be connection there, being non-denominational. That way you wouldn't politically anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Either any one of the different groups, denominations, or whatever, but it's a question about why do bad things happen to good people, and it really gets back to God said to Adam and Eve, "And the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die." Really establishing the consequence of God establishing the curse. And if you're going to have death, then you're going to have natural kinds of things that bring about that death. And so God is saying, when you eat it, there's going to be consequences. And we're still dealing with the consequences of the curse and our rebellion, or whatever you want to call it, against God. And I go back to, we're talking about Christians dying. You go back in the early church when the Christians were being taken into the Colosseums by the hundreds and being crucified on crosses and set on fire because they believe in Jesus. You know, you can ask the question, well, where was God then?
Yeah.
Holocaust, that question's been asked a lot.
Sure.
My answer to the question is basically, he was on his throne. He still is. He's in control. Nothing happens that catches him off guard. Hopefully these girls, being Christians, girls, were ready. You know, but the point is that we are reminded that there are consequences to having the presence of sin in a creation that God created to be good. And he's in the process of making it good again. And he's done what he could do in the midst of having to allow us to continue to have our free choice. He's done what he can do to make it right again.
Okay, so you're not Calvinist.
No.
Okay.
I'm not. But the point being is that we have no guarantees.
Nope, we don't.
We have to be ready for whatever's going to take place.
That's right. I tell you what, with all that's going on, because we're going to talk about more flooding, with everything that's going on, this is the time to start looking up.
Yeah. Well, and
not for the rain.
Yeah, well, you know, we've got these other two big things all happening in Chicago and then the one in New Mexico, all happening at such a close time. And then we see how that our weather patterns are changing, where it seems like tornadoes and things like that are moving east, northeast, some, all the way over to the East Coast. Where they're having some tornadoes there, rather than not just tornadoes, but of course the oh good grief, when all the winds come in from the ocean.
Yeah,
can't even think of the word, but anyway, I'm going to be 79 this year. So
I tell you what's very interesting is that, you know, that kind of takes us to the next question, because the authorities were caught off guard. That's hard to wrap your head around, that they were caught off guard. And don't tell me it was a lack of funding. It's just so crazy on how weather is changing so drastically and so quickly these days. And it just makes you think, so are the poles shifting? Is there something that's happening to the Earth's rotation, if you believe in around Earth, that it's shifting, or things are just happening? Maybe, I've got a thought, maybe we are very close to the rapture.
Well, of course, we're coming up to September again. And
yeah, we talked about that last time. You know, the thing is so it's not odd, but the thing that just gets me is, like, I think Christians get so excited. At least I get really excited when we come up on the Feast of Trumpets, you know, the end of September. And then when it's October, you think, oh, well, I guess we're
going to have to wait again.
We have to wait again.
Well, but, you know, it said, the Lord doesn't, nobody knows the time except.
And I don't know about you, but I have this longing now to go to heaven.
I'm getting tired of it.
Of waiting?
Of just life in general.
Life in general?
The way it is.
The way
is now.
Oh, you got to force yourself, you know, I'm not saying you, but we have got to force ourselves to stop consuming ourselves with social media and the news and what's going on. But it's like a drug. We're addicted to it. We want it. We see a story and it's like, oh, this is going to be the end of the world. So let's all focus on this and divert our attention away from it. And it's kind of like the Epstein files. You know, they were on Pam Bondi's desk and now they're not. And then they were in the FBI and now they're not. And then, you know, you got Trump going, he has amnesia now. And it's just like no one can figure anything. So it's all like, focus here while we do something else. And then you got Netanyahu, who was at the White House, was it yesterday or Monday?
Monday.
Having a meeting about what's going on in the Gaza Strip and whatnot. It's just, we are flooded with information. And Satan is doing a really good job of keeping us distracted. And then you got going on what's going on with AI.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty scary on what this whole world's going to be like, just not even six months from now, but just months and weeks of what's happening. Then you have the dollar that is struggling, and you have crypto that's exploding. So is our government going to go to basically, off the dollar? We don't have any gold. Is there really gold in Fort Knox? That's the ongoing joke, that there's no gold there. So I mean, basically, so is the United States broke upon broke upon broke upon broke, and is the train just going to derail like tomorrow? It kind of makes you wonder. So you kind of wonder where we are as a people in our psyche. Now, people who don't pay attention to what's going on, who just are just totally living their life, their head dug in the sand, which I was kind of laughing about, but I kind of wish we were.
Well, yeah, well,
maybe it's time for us to ditch our cell phones.
Well, we have to deal with reality, the way things are, because I think that's what God uses in our lives to grow us in faith.
But let me ask you, what's reality now? What's reality? AI can make a video. You can make a video in AI, a newscast video that looks completely real.
You want me to tell you what reality is?
Yeah, tell me what reality is, because I'm not living in reality. I'm living in an altered world.
I'm
living in the Matrix.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God himself is the ultimate reality.
That's right. So here's the earth, here's the heavens. We are here. Hey, listen. We are here because God is there. This is what you believe.
Now, did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I know. I'm just giving you a hard time. Yes.
We are here because God is there.
That's right.
And we need to get back to what is really true and what is the ultimate reality. That's the whole point. We keep chasing out on all these other things that God made possible.
Are you preaching to me?
To be, yes. Are you listening?
Are you listening to me? Are you with me? Are you with me?
Yeah. Well, that God made all this possible, the way that he created, the way it's all put together.
Sure.
AI, all of it. And God, when he did it...
So you don't think God's up in heaven going, golly, I just didn't think that was going to happen?
No. What God said
I'm shocked.
No, what God said, be fruitful, multiply, and subdue it, and see what happens.
Yeah.
See what you can make happen. Mm-hmm. And all of this stuff that's happening, we're able to make it happen because God put it in put this whole thing together in order for us to finally to say, oh, well, hey, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And God is the ultimate reality.
That's right. I can tell you're getting ready to preach because you started pointing the finger.
Oh,
you started.
Yeah.
That's good preaching. Yeah, you could probably do that for a while on this little subject here. Oh, wow, we're ready for question number 2 finally. But we kind of hit on it anyways.
Yeah,
but here we go. Yeah, from desert to deluge. New Mexico's recent flash floods caught authorities off guard. Are these extreme weather events part of a shifting climate, or is there human manipulation behind the scenes? All right, I'm one of those people that believes that they're cloud seeding. Someone is doing something with an airplane and dumping something out and causing this to happen.
Yeah.
Or influencing it and causing these reactions to happen. That's what I believe. But I mean, you prove me wrong, that's totally fine. I mean, but you got to look at what's going around going, how on earth does a storm just stay put for like hours upon hours upon hours and just stay there? It's like, is this possible? Now, I'll tell you what's crazy. New Mexico, and now we're going to get to Chicago. But what do you think?
Well, the thing that gets me, how were they caught off guard?
That's because of the lack of funding and the cut they received from Trump.
Well,
they can no longer do their job.
With the kind of technology that we have now with the satellites and all of the we're able to see the developments of the cloud formation, where they're headed, how much rain is in them, and there's so much stuff that they have already there that they can, and we've got so much background and so much information on how things have happened in the past and all that, that it's amazing to me that something like that could actually be caught off guard, because we have so many ways of anticipating
Sure.
the way what's coming.
Sure.
And for something to be caught off guard like that, that makes me wonder, okay, well, what were you doing? What were you thinking? Weren't you watching that kind
No,
of thing?
you can't watch if there's not enough funding.
No.
Right? Doesn't that equate to you?
Well, no, because...
I mean, I can't mow my yard because of lack of funding. But then I can have a Netflix and a Hulu and ESPN subscription. But lack of funding, I can't mow the yard.
Dear me. Well, that gets me
Just tell the government that I can't make my house payment because of lack of funding.
Well, Medicaid now has finally woke up and said, okay, if you are physically able to work, then if you're going to qualify for funding for Medicaid, you have to work at least 20 hours a week doing something, bringing, because we don't want to just give this out as free gratis to everybody and anybody that
Unless you come over
signs up for it.
the border illegally.
Well, but we're trying to change that. That's what this whole thing is about. You know what I mean? Trying to finally
Yeah,
get this.
that is changing drastically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. For good in some people's eyes and for bad in other people's eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel for a lot of the illegal immigrants what they had to escape.
Sure.
But you
exactly.
But you can't, if you're going to maintain a nation with borders and stuff, you've got to have ways of being able to control whatever comes over it.
Exactly.
That's one of the things that we're dealing with right now in response to after Iran. How many terror cells do we have here in America now that basically Iran could say, okay, we want you to start doing your thing
Oh, sure.
in different parts.
And some of this can date back to the botched Afghanistan withdrawal, too, as well.
Well, it even goes back farther to the Twin Towers.
Oh, yeah.
And where was that all from? Iran.
Well, yes.
cells,
And there was also a conspiracy theory out there that the government actually did it, especially the guy who owned the building.
Well,
that's the thing. You know, we get us distracted on so many different theories.
What we do know is who the men were that were on that plane and who they were connected with.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that. So, anyway, but we have to know who's here. Anyway, I don't know that kind, but that does kind of get off from being able to understand the weather. But we do have ways of being able to keep up with who's here and who isn't too.
Sure. Yep.
Or we need to be anyway. And I just, it's amazing to me how we've got a president who's trying to restore this country back to law and order and normalcy. And you've got all these crazy people out there who don't want it to be normal. They want it to be crazy.
Yeah, I tell you what's scary, though, is the last couple days have been scary.
Yeah.
You know, I am a Trump supporter. I don't know where I stand now. Let's see how this plays out. There's a plethora number of ways this could play out, and maybe, you know, President Trump is doing this for a reason. I'm talking about the Epstein file list.
Okay.
I mean, all we heard was we got the list. The list is coming out. Mass arrests are going to happen. It's on Pam Bondi's desk. She's getting ready to go through it. The FBI has it. Oh, the FBI withheld stuff. She doesn't have everything. Now she does have everything. Now they're like,
Where is it?
Epstein? Who's that? What?
I know.
It just... Okay, so is he trying to attack the deep state? Is he taking on the deep state?
No, the big
Who
question.
is the deep state? And are they the ones in control? Or is this just a movie? I'm sorry.
The bigger question is that everybody would have, okay, Trump must be on the list because they can't find it now. That's what most people are be thinking.
Yeah, that's what most people are thinking. I want to believe that he's not on the list and he's holding the list and he's using it as collateral to influence the deep state, whoever that is.
To me, he's on the list. Hey, Clinton, he was a friend of Epstein. Mm-hmm. And I can't help but think that, all right, Trump, young guy, that kind of, it would not be surprising to me that he'd be on the list. Mm-hmm. But knowing his history, knowing his background, knowing he was a big Democrat supporter. Mm-hmm. I mean, good friends with Hillary Clinton and all of them. Mm-hmm. I would not be surprised if he was on the list. And I see that here's a man now, he's 78 years old. He's got, his kids have turned out decent, that kind of thing. Yes, he's a sinner just like all the rest of us, and it seems like he's making a pretty good comeback.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And really, the Epstein guy was the one that was making it possible for them to happen. He's the real guilty thing. But then anybody that was involved with that, yeah, they have responsibility too. It's just like this Diddy thing, same thing.
Oh, he gets off basically free and clear. Oh, yeah, it's just, I think we've lost faith in which do we really have faith in our government or do we have faith in laws? You know, I use that loosely, but I mean, it just makes you think, yeah, as long as you got money, it seems like things can go away for you. Yeah. But, it's not not my call.
I get concerned though, when you have people in political power, then they have to get out because of term limits, things like that. But yet, they can't, or there's a resistance to hold them accountable for things that they did that were genuinely against the law.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's very true, I think, of the Biden administration and his whole family.
Yeah.
And yet, what does that say? It says that, yeah, you can live above the law if you have achieved a certain level of position and stuff. And I hate to see that because that's not the American way.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And so, anyway, but I think that's one reason why Putin is upgrading the war there in Ukraine, because since we've had the Iran thing go on and gotten through that, he knows that Trump's going to be very resistant to have to do another thing like that to Russia to try to stop it. And of course, Trump is waiting on NATO now, the other country in that to do really what it should be up to them.
And in the meantime, is North Korea supplying Iran with a nuclear weapon, or is China?
Who knows?
Who knows what's going on? Hey, let's skip to the last question because we're talking about prophecy in the waters.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, with Jesus' words about famines and earthquakes, we're talking about Luke 21 and Noah's flood typology. Might today's flood signal an urgent call to repentance or foreshadow end times outpourings? Blessing or judgment? What do you think?
I think it's basically God getting our attention.
Yeah.
Getting our attention.
Yeah, I can see that.
And he does that in history, even when he's not preparing to come again. But he is working to get us back in relationship with him, the right relationship with him again.
Yeah, gotcha.
And these kinds of things happen to cause us to ask that very kind of question. Okay, Lord, things are kind of unusual the way they're going right now. Are you trying to tell us something? And we need to be hearing, what is it you want to tell us? And are we willing to hear?
That's right. Are we listening?
And are we willing to agree and obey? Yeah, Lord, we need to change that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that happens in our personal lives. When things happen, it causes us to begin, God, are you trying to tell me something? You know, are you trying to get my attention about, am I doing something wrong here?
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
At this point in time now, I'm not saying I've spent a lot of time on social media or scrolling through X and reading news, but I think I'm going to start limiting myself and start focusing on godly things and start focusing on looking up.
Amen. Well, I think that's what we all need to do.
I think that we all need to do that. And I think this last press conference, whatever it was, where, Trump and Pam Bondi basically, saying there's no Epstein list. It's just like, okay, this is just a movie. This is just one big show. Why fret about this stuff, and why get mad, get upset, watch Fox News 12 hours a day on this? Why focus your attention on this anymore if this is the way it's going to be handled? And then you have this was last night in Chicago. So now we've had Texas, now we've had New Mexico, and now Chicago. What's next?
Well, I don't know. There's another hurricane possibly building.
And then look what's happening in Japan.
And it's fairly late. I mean, past that time of the year. A lot of stuff happening. And I don't know. We need to be looking up regardless. But
that's right.
But I really do believe that God's trying to get our attention.
Well, He has mine.
Yeah. Well, mine too. But we'll see. I'm encouraged. There are some positive things that are happening. Not necessarily the weather. But, I was impressed after the president, at the end of his explanation for the flights over to Iran and coming back, and he was thanking all the men that the work that they had done and how miraculous it was and everything. And he actually then said, thank God.
Yeah.
He gave God
the glory.
The glory for that. And I think he did that, because, of course, we're Christian, but he's also thanking Netanyahu for the work that they did. Yeah. And he's really, when he's doing that, he's acknowledging that he understands Israel's still God's people.
Yep. That's right.
I think that came across.
Yep.
So, anyway, so that's a positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Any last words? Any words of wisdom you want to share with me or share with our audience?
Last words of wisdom. Well, I agree with you. There's a lot of information out there that we don't need to be filling our heads with.
Sure.
We need to be in the Word more.
Yeah.
And on our phones less.
Yep.
And I think things would begin to change. It really does concern me how that so many, especially young people now, are so caught up in it.
Yeah.
And there's so much negative stuff on there. And there's some positive. But we got to get off our phones and get in the Word a little bit more.
There you go. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on episode number 55. We hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode. And feel free to send us an email. Contact information is in the description, as well as been on the screen. So if you have any questions you'd like to send our way, we'd appreciate it very much. We look forward to seeing you possibly on next week's episode. Maybe the rapture will come and we'll all be up in heaven, and then we'll look back on this and say, hey.
Well, hopefully we won't be flooded out.
Hopefully we won't be flooded out. That's right. All right. Well, until next time, we'll see you. Take care and bye-bye.